Right, everyone. A very good morning to all. My name is Gaurav. As you can see, I've also changed my name, and I'll also put in over here NASSCOM, so everyone can reach out whenever they want, as suggested by Nizam. So yeah, first of all, I'd like to welcome all of you in today's session on B2B sales. So we have with us Nizamudheen, who is the business head and the founder of Toolyt. Uh, we know him as Nizam, a lot of us. Nizam's actually startup Toolyt has been incubated with 10,000 startups quite a while ago. And his journey has been an inspiration to a lot of founders and a lot of us as well. Uh, we have done quite a lot of sessions. Nizam has actually mentored a lot of startup with us as well. And a quite interesting thing is he's the guy who can tell you what to do at what time, like the smallest of things. Uh, so it's been a great journey that we have also taken with Nizam. So Nizam, first of all, thank you for coming in today and making time.
Most, and I should thank you for taking me here. Thank you so much for bringing me here again.
So
Would love
yeah,
to talk to the co-founders or founders and see how I learnings or whatever experience in a journey. So happy to share that. It's just a sharing. This is not a webinar. We are not teachers, professors. So just sharing what we easy things that they can also implement when it comes to automating a B2B outreach. Yeah, that's it.
right. Thanks, Nizam. But before we start, just a couple of things for the audience that we have today. The Q&A we would take at the end of the session. You can either write it down over here in the Q&A section, or at the end of the session, you can raise your hand and we'll be happy to take you on mic and you can ask questions to Nizam. Nizam also has requested to be a more engaging session, interactive session. So, if you have any questions, you can write it down in the chat or the Q&A option. So we'll be happy to take these. So over to you, Nizam.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. So good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot in advance for joining us today on this webinar on automating B2B outreach. Just to give you a background about us and the company, I think it makes sense because I'm not really sure our profile and what does it, whether it is into a B2B, B2C, or B2B2B or B2B2C. So it could be of any sort. So just trying to put my experience here so that you're clear with what I'm talking about. So we have a product called Toolyt. Toolyt is something which we launched in 2017. Like Gaurav mentioned, incubated in NASSCOM. It's been already 3 to 4 years working on this product. We have customers across 15 plus countries, which includes customers such as GE Healthcare, Tata, Aditya Birla, Citibank, etc., using the platform. We also launched a sub product a couple of months back, only last September, last year September, within our pandemic time. So Toolyt is more to do with field productivity. Let's say if you're applying for a loan, the executives coming and visiting you in order to manage the daily activities, collaborate with the internal team, credit team, valuation team. So multiple use cases that we handle within Toolyt. So this is a Salesforce productivity solution or an intelligent mobile assistant. It's a mobile focused application. And Acadle is an LMS. So if you're an enterprise, if you want to start building your own white label LMS, you can come visit Acadle and sign up, change it to your own domain logo, looks like it's your own LMS, and launch it in a couple of minutes. So we launched it in last September, as I mentioned. We already have around 600 plus academies running, having around, which is built by around 400 plus customers who's paying across the world. We don't have a lot of customers in India. I think more than 90% are from outside. So Acadle, when we launched, we started selling to India, sorry, outside India, where in Toolyt we have 80% customers from India. And also the interesting part is we did not make a call, we did not make a single demo while selling Acadle, where in Toolyt we had to make calls, we had to meet them in person. And all of this Acadle sales were happened through those automations that I'm talking to you about. We did not make a single demo to them to get them on board. It was all done by themselves. We have made in such a way that the demos are even automated. And only in the last 5 months, I think we have crossed easily 50,000 US dollars in revenue for Acadle alone. So that's the quick background. I'm one of the founders and I handle product and business development at both Toolyt and Acadle. So let's get started. So we're going to talk about especially B2B outbound. So when it comes to the sales, there are two main. I mean, most of the things that I'm going to take, I'm going to talk about today will be of kind of that you might know them, but there could be at least one point which you can take away is what I hope after the webinar. So excuse me if I'm again telling the things which you already know, because I'm just trying to reiterate and bring you to this particular session. So whenever it comes to B2B sales, there are two major parts. One is the outbound and second is the inbound marketing. There are more other methods also like channel marketing, resellers and all that. But let's talk from a marketing point of view. As a team, what are you expected to do? So you should know inbound already. I'm not going to get into in detail, but I would like to quickly take you through what an inbound marketing is all about. So inbound is where you're generating interest using blogs, using SEO, using your social media campaigns, viral campaigns, videos, and all that. So where people get to know about your platform, they come visit it, or they search for a unique parameter, unique keyword. They will come to your website in the Google and come sign up. So that's the way. It takes its own time. So it'll, for example, if you take SEO will take its own time, couple of months to get your organic traffic, organic, position inside search engines, or even if it'll also take some time to get your content delivered to the users because Google has its own algorithms and all that. But if I split those marketing into three, there are three segments to it. One is creating the awareness through multiple platforms. It could be blogs or SEO and all that. And also, how do you bring them to act? How do you bring them to interact with you? That is where the consideration comes in, where you bring some unique call to actions. Let's say if you're writing a blog about, how to increase the productivity, there can be an automatic pop saying that, hey, would you like to know more about how to help you increase productivity, which could be a call to action. And the call to action could be schedule a demo with us, but it's all automated because the content is already distributed. The pop-ups can be automated with multiple tools like ConvertBox is an interesting tool that you can use based on some behaviors, based on where the user has come from, based on the IP address, based on the number of times they visited. You can automate the call to actions. You can also have A/B testings on multiple landing pages. So the moment a user comes to a promotional marketing page, based on the industry that he is visiting from, for example, we have very interesting things called IP, and which can be again used for our sales purpose. So it can also automatically identify the location from the IP that particular user is visiting. It can also identify which company he belongs to from that IP. So I'm also going to talk about a tool which is going to help you with that. So based on that, it automatically shows, hey, good to know that you're visiting from Wipro or Accenture. Hey, this is the solution that we have with Wipro. So you can kind of optimize the whole thing, but again, it comes to the landing page, then they sign up, then you send them an email. So it is completely an inbound way or an organic way of getting people to buy your product. But there is a lot to work there also. You need to have a combination of multiple tools to understand the user behavior, understand where they're coming from, what is the company that they belong to. You can even automate a couple of CTAs based on the pages they visited. If they visited 5 seconds and pricing, if they visited 10 seconds in features page, then the moment they go out of the or they are trying to close the website, you can automatically show a pop-up. Hey, we can give you 20% discount on this particular feature. Would you like to have a demo with us, or would you like to take a trial with us? So there are a lot of interesting aspects to inbound marketing, but I'm not really getting into it because that itself is an ocean. And I'm here to speak about how you can automate B2B outbound, because outbound used to be a manual effort. So I'm going to skip this again, because this is also again pretty much connected to how an inbound works. How do you attract? So the funnel looks like this, where you attract your prospects using blogs and social media content. Then you convert them to buy, or it can be a call to action. The convert basically happens where they click on a demo button, where they click on a trial button, etc. Then they close, because the moment they sign up, then you have to send a lot of segmentations and emails, and you have to segment them based on the features, and then you make them delight. So this is a funnel that looks like for an inbound. Outbound also will be something similar, but the way that you approach them is going to be different. So if I want to start inbound, I cannot just start today and start seeing results by tomorrow. But if I want to start outbound, I can start today and I can start seeing the result by today itself. For example, so we do this cold calls and cold emails and all that. So most of the time we get response, but there are few tips where you can get response faster, or where you can even get response from a CEO who is the top level in a tier one company. So I mean, we will talk about all that in the next couple of pages. So sorry. So I mean, we know the benefits. The actual benefits of inbounds are, that increases our reputation, that improves the visibility. There are more conversion rates. For example, inbound is considered to be having more conversion percentage than the outbound. That is a very, very important point that you can keep in your mind. Then the ROI is going to be very, very higher, and you don't have to really spend a lot of resources here. And once you start working, it will continue to work for you. You'll have to simply tweak and keep adding the contents, and rest of this can be automatically taken care. So with that, I'll stop talking about inbound, because that's something that you can again spend some time later. Let's start talking about outbound. So what is an outbound? It's nothing that you are reaching out to the customer, uh, telling them, hey, you know what, we have this. Would you like to buy, or would you like to try, or would you like to take a demo from us? There are multiple channels where you can reach out to them. So before all that, there are a few things that you need to be very careful with, or before you even think about starting an outbound journey. Couple of things that you need to keep in your mind is, what is the product that you're selling? You need to have a very clear clarity in terms of positioning your product. In terms of, let's say, even if I take Toolyt as an example, initially when we started giving it to the companies as a Salesforce automation tool, it wasn't really interesting for the companies to even listen. So they got tired hearing about this word SFA. And we were like trying different names. And the moment we started using productivity tool, I think that made more sense to the prospects to even reply to our email saying that, hey, would love to know more about what you're doing in Toolyt. So it's so important, how do you position your product, and how it is going to be different in the market. So just make sure that you're clear with what your product value propositions are. Second most important thing is, you need to be very clear with who's your potential customer. So I mean, there's another mistake that we did. I mean, instead of figuring out who is the right customer, we started going to anybody and everybody who seems to have a B2B sales guys. And the problem, sorry, have a field sales guys. And the problem eventually is that every industry is having its own workflows and customizations, and we were like continuously building our features. It is a never ending feature building process, which was taking our time, which was taking our cost. And at the end, we had to simply tell them, okay, we are no more taking your time, because that's not we are in for. There is another good company that you can work with, because they have pretty much everything that is available, like DMS, inventory, returns, and all that you can use. But we are more focused on XYZ parameters. So kind of, we need to figure out who's your potential customer. And the third most important is, how will you catch your attention? The attention is again another very key point, where when you're talking to somebody, you may talk about 5 to 10 different things, and there could be one single line which can take your attention. So when you're talking to a medical devices company, when you're talking to a bank, when you're talking to an NBFC, you need to have a very clear clarity in terms of what is the problem that you're trying to solve. So three things you need to keep in your mind. We will go in deep about all this, like what else you want to keep in your mind while you're doing all this. Your product is important, your potential customer is important, and also you need to make sure that you catch their attention with a unique value proposition or unique problem that you're going to address. So let's look at what are the channels that normally considered for outbound. So there are telecalling, which is a very important channel that seems to be working for multiple B2B companies, but depends on the data, depends on the quality of data, depends on the messaging, because you only get 10 seconds to really get on call with someone and tell them, hey, I have this. So it's an interesting way of also selling because that takes its own effort. But we're not going to talk about anything like web or other offline or telecalling activities. We're only going to focus more on how we can use emails or how we can use social media and the website to automate the B2B. Because like the inbound, even this takes its own time and it has its own process. And that's another deep ocean to really look into. So, getting started, I want you guys to think about these things in your mind while I'm taking you through the rest of the slides, right? So, I know you all have a product in your mind, or you all have an idea in your mind, or you're working with somebody currently. So, first, make sure that you position your product very well. And this is going to be like an exercise. Let's keep this exercise throughout this conversation. So, let's first position your product. Where is it going to fit? Where am I going to fit? Is it going to be a productivity tool or a lead management tool or a marketing automation tool? Or so you first decide where does it fit, right? Second, write it down. Who is going to use it? Like, okay, my potential usage is going to be the sales guys, field sales guys, or it can be a credit team, or it can be a financial team, it can be an HR team. So you need to first figure out who is going to use it, right? And the third important thing, maybe you can write it down again, is like what problem you're addressing, what is the pain point that you're addressing, and the next thing is how are you solving it unique. But for all this, you should not write a sentence more than 3 to 4 words. You should basically limit in a quick line, one liner. So the problem that you're trying to address and the solution that you're providing for that problem. So don't list all the problems, take one problem that you're going to that is going to be making sense, and talk about that one single unique solution that you're providing, comparing to the competitors. For example, there could be a lot of competitors, and they're also solving the same problem. But speak about how uniquely are you solving this problem. Don't speak about how you're solving this problem. So how are you unique in solving this problem? That is the next most important point. And because of all this, what is the impact you're bringing? For example, if I'm talking to a prospect and I'm telling them, hey, you know what, normally you take 25 days to onboard a customer. If I come and if I help you to change that to 10 days, will it make sense? So that's an impact that I'm giving back. And you need to be very clear with the unique selling proposition. So before going through the rest of the slides, I want you to keep this in your mind. Where is my product fit? Who's going to use it? And what is the problem that I'm trying to address? And how intelligently or interestingly I'm solving this problem? And what are the impacts I'm trying to bring? And the unique selling propositions that you have, which is your own, your competitors does not have. It could be even the way that you operate. That also could be a unique selling model, right? So positioning is over. Let's talk about prospecting, right? So a product and positioning is study. Now let's think about a dominant industry. So what is that one industry, or what is that one industry who is going to get benefit from you? It is going to be bank, financial, e-commerce. So think about that one industry who's going to use your product. You need to also make sure that you need to again funnel it based on the average size of the company. So the reason why you need to put it that way is that so that you can understand, will they be able to pay this much of amount to me? Will they be having this many users? For example, this is again dependent on this pricing model. If you're pricing per user per month, you need to look at on an average of, let's say, 50 to 100 sales guys, or in my case it is going to be 50 to 250 sales guys, which is a best model, because if I go to them, the closure time is lesser. Otherwise it takes like years and years to cross. So you need to wisely choose your customer, the size of the customer, and also related to few interesting experience we had, you can also understand what are the tools that they're currently using. Let's say if you're an email marketing product, right? You can very much understand by visiting their website what are the other tracking tools that they're using for automating their email capture. So if you go to the website, there are even plugins available where you can track the tools that are used by a company. So let's say if you are selling a tool or if you are building a tool which can be used on top of a Salesforce CRM, first you need to figure out what are the companies using Salesforce CRM. Or let's say that if you're selling a chatbot, right? You need to first see what are the websites having a chat on their website, so that I can pitch to them talking about replacing it with a chatbot. I can go and see what is the ATS that they're using, what is the career, what is the job listing page that they're using in their website, so that I can sell their services. Saying that, hey, we have an inbuilt ATS plus a job publishing tool, you can use this. So you need to be very clear with also what is their current usage of tools. Are they buying costly tools? Are they not buying costly tools? What kind of tools are they using? So all that will help you understand, segment your customers a bit faster, and this will help you in prospecting, because the moment you start getting into talking to your potential customers, all this data is going to help you. Talk about a pattern and pain points. I don't want to spend a lot of time here. I'll just quickly pass. When you understand the needs and concern, identify the person that you need to talk to, because the person who's going to use it could be different, and the person who is going to buy this could be different. For example, in our case also, the sales guys are going to use it, but this is going to be analyzed and bought by a digital head or a CIO or a VP of a company, sales head. So your decision maker is different, your consumer is different, so that you need to really be careful about who's the person that you should be talking to, right? And you need to also choose your channels to go do the outbound. So there are a lot of channels. Quora could be a channel, LinkedIn could be a channel. So we'll speak about all that later. And the last one, talking about how do we deliver. So we figured out what our product is, we figured out who's our customer is, and how do we deliver that message to them. So be clear, stick to the point. Also mention the pain point first before even talking about your product. Then the value can come. The first point you need to have is politely start the email, then talk about a problem or ask about a problem. Hey, are you facing this problem? Then you can talk about how interestingly are you solving this problem. Then you can speak about a call to action. So call to action could be, can we schedule a demo? Can we meet at this particular time? Can we have a quick 5 minutes call? So it could be a call to action. So make sure that this is a format that you need to keep wherever you are communicating to your prospects, the online, right? So I'm kind of almost done with the initial preparation of I'm going to do an outbound and what are the things that I should be doing before doing an outbound. So please keep all this in your mind before we get into the next, or even before you start doing your outbound. So make sure that the more you know about your prospect, it is better, because then you can customize, you can personalize your outbound messages very quickly. So the moment you know that okay, they're not using a lead management tool, this will help you to personalize the whole message, saying that hey, I figured out that you're not using a sales management tool, so a lead management tool, and this could be of a loss of data shortage for you, and are you not worrying about it? And we can give you a real-time platform where you can solve this problem. So as much as you can understand from their website. So another interesting thing which I got to know recently while I was talking to one of my customers is that he told me, hey, go check websites. Every NBFC is submitting their annual report, and in their annual report, they are talking about what are the tools that they're using very clearly, or what are the new tools that they implemented in the last year. So this will help you understand, hey, there is a need. Are they really investing on digital tools, etc., etc. So when we started doing it, I think just because of that one single tip, we were able to make a good number of outbound emails, and we also schedule some good number of demos because of that. So as much as you can know, as much as you can spend to know your customer, that's very, very important. Then you approach them very, very personally. I'll also show you some samples on how you can reach out to them in a personalized manner, but in bulk. So that's how we can do it. So let's get into the action. So I'm going to introduce a couple of tools to you, and these tools are Couple of things are free, couple of things will cost you like $10, $15, $50, etc. But this will give you 10x, maybe 50x returns if you use it very effectively. So let's see this first three tools. And for mainly automating a LinkedIn activity, the first tool is the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So let's say if you're targeting a B2B, right? I think LinkedIn is the place that you want to spend your whole day. Um, and if you have your LinkedIn Sales Navigator tool, you have a more power to you coming, where you can filter, where you can filter by a bunch of extra filters in terms of recently changed job, their education, their college they study. You can find one quick connecting factor where you could reach out to them saying that, hey, this guy from this college, he was also in the same year. So because you need to have an initiator for your conversation, right? So I think those informations can get you better from the LinkedIn Navigator. So I'm going to show you what are the different things that you can do with this, and how you can combine this tool to get a best result. So the first tool, let's review Sales Navigator. I don't want to really spend a lot of time here. If you never used Sales Navigator, you can just go to LinkedIn and subscribe for a free 1 month trial. They'll give you 1 month free of cost, with all the features. They'll not limit you anything for the first month. And you can give a card just to get activated. The best part of Sales Navigator is, as you can see on the right side, I can filter by the industry, their number of years that they're in the current position, based on the recent job change, based on the geography. So you are getting your entire prospect filtered here, and you will be able to see it, and you will be able to even mark them as accounts, etc. And you can get real-time alerts. Let's say that if somebody's covered in a news today, if someone changes jobs, you will clearly get an alert on your Sales Navigator. If you have not used it, use it. It is very simple to understand, so that I don't have to spend a lot of time here today to speak about Sales Navigator. It's a premium tool within LinkedIn for those who who is not clear about what Sales Navigator is. Let's talk about the next interesting tool. This is going to save you hours every day. Hours and minutes every day. Sorry, days every month, every year. So there is a tool that is called Duck-Soup. There are more tools like this. We use multiple tools together. We use for different people. We use multiple tools, and for myself, I use different tools in different browsers and use it. So how Duck-Soup does is it automates your complete LinkedIn lead generation. For example, you can configure a workflow saying that every day I have already taken a bunch of profiles that I see as a potential customer. I give those profiles to Duck-Soup, and Duck-Soup, I'll tell them, you know what? First day, go and visit his profile. Second day, go and send him a request saying that, hey, I would like to connect. You can also customize the message in terms of what is the message I want to send. Third day, you can again visit his profile so that he feels that you're continuously looking at his profile. And fourth day, the moment he accepts your invite, fourth day, you can automatically send your next message about your proposal, your product. You can wait for 2 days. If he's not replying you within 2 or 3 days, you can again message him. So the whole flow of getting in touch with your prospects online can be automatically done with Duck-Soup. You don't have to do anything. You just have to configure this content, configure this activities, and just sit back and do your rest of the work. And rest can be automatically taken care by Duck-Soup. And this is not a costly product. This is, I think, only a couple of dollars per month. Um, and you can manage the data. You can also scan by a particular tag. You can scan by the profiles and export their LinkedIn profile. And that LinkedIn URL can be used in some other tools. We even extract their email IDs, which can be used for doing an outbound marketing, like a drip campaign. So we will talk about drip campaign later, but Duck-Soup is going to help you maybe 2 to 3 hours every day, which is going to save you time, which is going to give you a very good ROI for let's say $19 for a year. This is going to give you a very good ROI in terms of number of demos. So the only thing is you have to configure these flows very clearly. And the next tool which I wanted to talk about is something called Fandom Buster. And this is something that we use very, very heavily. So Fandom Buster is a automation tool. And the interesting part of this automation that you can see on the right side is similar to this. So I can connect Fundum Buster with my LinkedIn. And what I can do is I can automatically join the groups. I can automatically extract the members of a group. And for example, I'll tell you this. Let's say if I'm trying to target HRs of companies, right? So my product can be used by HRs of company. With Fundum Buster, what I can do is I can first go to LinkedIn. I can search for groups which are dedicated to HRs. I'll come to Fundum Buster. I'll give the URL of this group to Fundum Buster. Fundum Buster will automatically extract the members of that particular group. Plus, then what you can also do is you can automate rest of the activities, sending them a invite, asking them to connect, sending them an automatic message. For you to not block your LinkedIn account, you can also have some extra conditions that if it's not replying to your connection request within 7 days, go and deactivate it. For you to engage with these people, right? I mean, because the only way to get their attention is to engage with your post, engage with what they're talking in the LinkedIn activity, visiting their profile, endorsing their skill. So you can have this as a 30 days plan, and all of that can be automated with Fundum Buster. And there is an interesting use case also that you can do with Fundum Buster. But yeah, look at Fundum Buster's website. A lot of interesting workflows that you have there, which you can use to automate your complete outbound sales process, right? And let's talk about a few tools which is going to work together. So you can have these tools combined together, and it can work for you. So Albatross is and a very interesting tool that we're using internally, which will automatically analyze and understand from what are the companies you're getting people visiting your website. So if I open my website today, I'll see that, okay, these are the people from different companies. I mean, it will not tell you who is the visiting, but it just will tell you what he belongs to, what company, the visitor belongs to what company. So it is a small script that you can place on your website. So daily it will capture the companies visiting your profile. You can connect that particular tool with Fundum Buster and LinkedIn. For example, then you can search, let's say if Toolyt is a website and there is a company like ABC Financial visiting my website, I can do an automation wherein it will automatically search for profiles in LinkedIn where there is a chief digital officer, chief innovation officer, or there can be even a VP of sales. So anybody who is potential target, I can search for them automatically with the workflows in LinkedIn. And what happens is I can then connect with Fundum Buster, and rest of the activities. Okay, the first message can be, hey, it seems like somebody visited our website recently from your company. Let's get connected. That can be the first message. And when he accepts the invitation after 2 days, you can send another message automatically. You can go to his profile and view. You can endorse him. You can engage with his post. So the whole flow, if somebody visiting your profile, to selling or talking about your product and asking him to schedule a meeting with you, can be automated using these three tools, right? So this is an interesting combination where it can work together already with their own workflows. Another workflow that you can also think about is using our product, which is Acadle. So like I said, Acadle is used in more than 400, used to be more than 400 customers, right? So one of the use cases that people use Acadle is for building free academies for their promotional activities for brand building. For example, let's say if you're a marketing company, if you're an email marketing product, you can build a free academy. Or if you're a payroll management company, if you're a recruitment company, right, you can build a free academy where you talk about how to make the right, how to find the right resource. If it is an email marketing company, then you can talk about how to write an email, what are the ways of finding the right email, what are the samples of an email, etc., etc. So it could be an informative academy, and that can be distributed across your social media. You can also promote that. So when somebody finds it interesting, so let's take one example. Like I'm an email marketing product. I've created one academy about how to do B2B marketing, email marketing effectively, and they promote this academy on social media. So anyone who's interested in this particular title about B2B marketing will come, click on this, will come to Acadle. we'll learn more about Acadle. So you can place some scripts inside, like, you can even place the Albacross script inside to see what are the companies visiting this academy. You can even place scripts like heap analytics to understand the behavior of these guys inside the academy. You can even place ad roll script. So it will eventually understand the behavior inside academy. What are the courses that they are learning? What are the content that they are reading? How much time they are spending on individual pages? What are the materials that they are downloading? Based on their behavior inside Acadle, you can then do a retargeting through multiple social media platforms. So then you can spend on ads, because you know that if he has done this, if he has downloaded this particular material, if he spent 10 seconds on this particular page, this particular course, then he is a very interesting candidate for me, because he is somebody whom I can target to sell my email marketing product. So based on those controls can be made inside ad roll, and within ad roll itself, we have an option where you can do paid advertisements on multiple platforms in single shot. So based on these data, you can retarget them through different platforms, or based on this data, you can look at companies in LinkedIn to understand who are all the potential people that I can speak to. So that is another way where you can automate your inbound and outbound together using multiple tools, right? Another very interesting combination of tools, or couple of tools I would like to highlight when it comes to email automation. So we were speaking about LinkedIn automation. Getting it. Yeah, I'll speak about ad roll in a while, maybe at the end. I'll take, you can drop all your questions here, and we'll speak about those questions then. Yeah, so we finished LinkedIn. There are multiple ways you can automate outbound. Now let's talk about emails. Again, LinkedIn can be of a source of data for identifying the email, and I've listed few tools here. So one is definitely LinkedIn, because that's where you find your potential customers, your potential prospects, or whom you're talking to, because pretty much everyone is on LinkedIn. You can't find their profile on LinkedIn if they are on a corporate customer, right? So the tools that we have highlighted here, one is LinkedIn, second is called Lusha. Lusha is a freemium tool. They have a free plan as well as a paid plan, but there is a bunch of alternatives also for Lusha. But the reason why I mentioned Lusha is their data is accurate. And they also give you phone numbers if required. And there is also something called Lemlist that you can very much use. And I'll also show you how Lemlist work, right? So I don't want to talk about LinkedIn because I already spoke about it in my last. If you have a LinkedIn Sales Navigator, well and good. You can save, you will get more insights about your prospects. So let's say what I can do is, if I have a Sales Navigator, I can go to the Sales Navigator. I can then search for my own filters and get a list of, let's say, I think by default, it gives you around 80 prospects. You can export it, you can save it, or you can use Lusha. It is a paid plugin that stays on your LinkedIn. The moment you visit somebody's profile, when you click on the plugin, it will automatically show you the email ID of that particular person. And so it will validate the email ID and make sure it is working email ID or not. And if phone number is available, it will also show you the phone number of that particular user. So there are tools like Apollo, Lusha, Snovio, bunch of tools available. Only for this particular activity, reply.io, customer.io. There are more tools available where you can buy and compare. Risha is more accurate as per our experience. So that can be used for getting the email ID from LinkedIn, or use any other tools to get the email IDs from LinkedIn. The next activity you should do after getting these email IDs, drop them an email. Drop them an email about your product or solution. So what I can do here is, and I have selected Lemlist, and we are already using Lemlist here. The reason why I selected Lemlist is there is an inbuilt email warm-up tool. It will automatically warm up your email so that it will not go to the spam folder, number one. Number two is, the cost is very less. I think they only charge you $29 per month. And the third very interesting, very interesting use case that Lemlist built is, you see this image here. So based on the company that you're visiting, that you're sending, so you can have one single template sent to 100 customers, 100 prospects. and you can dynamically control the content of this particular email. The logo can get automatically replaced with the company's logo that I'm sending. Let's say if I'm sending to Microsoft, this logo will automatically replace with Microsoft logo. The text also inside an image or inside a video will also get replaced with um, the company name or the person that I'm sending. So you will have the flexibility of dynamically controlling a video or an image content, so that the person who's reaching this email will have a feel that, okay, this guy has dedicated some time to prepare this email and sending to me manually. Because there are still people who, I think 80% of the people who is still not aware of, there are tools like this which can automate pretty much everything, right? So this is an interesting use case. Another interesting use case with Lemless is also that they have multiple pre-built images, and those can be something like you wrote something on a board. So let's say that if you're trying to sell your Toolyt to an NBFC, so this image can have a handwriting script where you speak about 5 advantages why ABC financial company should use Toolyt. That ABC financial will also be written on that board image, and the 5 advantages of using Toolyt for ABC will also be written dynamically, by the way. So all these contents are added to Lemlist dynamically, and using the help of dynamic labels, we call that, it will be automatically placed inside the content, and that will be delivered to the potential prospects. So as much as you make it more personalized and dynamic, I think you have a better chance of getting the response. And when you do the response also, and when you do a call campaign also, there are multiple things you need to keep in your mind. Replay rate is very important. Open rate is very important. And for you to test all this, we always recommend you to use A/B testing, where you can have maybe 3 combinations of the same email content, with 3 different titles. So you can see which one is opening more, which means that particular title is impressive. So for the further conversation, you can use that particular email title, and the content can also be different in each A/B testing, so that you can see which email is getting your replies, so that for the further emails you can use that first subject, which gives you more open rate, and content which gives you more reply rate. So you need to do all that trial and errors when you do this outbound email marketing. But this is the best flow that you can do by automating. And one of the combinations that you can very much use is this LinkedIn, Lusha, and Lemlist. So you get the prospects from LinkedIn. You use Lusha for capturing their email ID, and there is an option where you can directly integrate Lusha data with Lemlist. You push the data from that you capture from Lusha to Lemlist, and Lemlist will automatically start enabling drip emails, right? So drip emails, to those who is not aware of what is a drip email. So you can configure and say that the first email will go in day 1. It will wait for 2 days, and automatically as a follow-up email, the next email will go with specific content. So you can control all this flow. It will act like as if you're sending it manually. The content of individual email can also be configured when you're uploading a contact. So you can decide what content should come in individual places, so that the moment you get a reply from them, then basically it stops sending, because it captures the reply and it stops sending. So this will help you, and this is helping us a lot, and this is going to help you a lot in terms of automating this, right? Also, another interesting use case that you can have with Acadle, Lemlist, and Calendly is, let's say if you're sending an email to, let's say, 1,000 people, there can be one call to action called book a meeting. And when they book a meeting with Calendly, what happens is they will automatically get an invitation from your email saying that this particular slot is booked for demo. The moment the booking is done, you can also use our APIs to automatically send them an invitation to our product academy. So before the meeting, they can get to know everything about what are the advantages, what are the testimonials, what are the use cases, how it is currently used by the customers, etc., so that they can be prepared with their questions and have a better understanding about what is your product all about. So you can use all these automations effectively to make sure that you engage with your customers in real time and you get the best out of them. I think I'm talking a lot, but yeah, we don't have much. I think I can give you, or another 10 minutes to ask questions. But before I stop, few things you need to keep in your mind when you're doing inbound or outbound marketings. Try to bring social proof, try to bring people talking about you, try to bring awards and recognitions, try to bring the reviews that people have given on the platforms, your testimonials, your logos. So bring as much as social proof on your website, because that's going to be your face, and everything is going to be, the decisions are going to be based on the impression that they get when they're visiting a website. um, Avoid personalization without advance. So there are few companies which helps you personalize the landing page based on the behavior of a user. But if you're unsure about the evidence, do not personalize, because if Nizam is visiting a website and if that website is going to address me with "Hey Joseph," right? I think that's a very wrong impression. So make sure that when you do personalizations and workflows, there are least errors and less errors. Do not use the same content for different audiences, and please make sure you have different content and use cases for different audiences. Do not use an unscientific A/B testing. So if you don't know how to use an A/B testing, if you're not really sure about how this can impact, what are the different methods of doing an A/B testing? A/B testing within a pop-up, within a content, based on location, based on the company who's visiting. So please test it carefully. So for you to check the location, you can have VPNs to test and see how this is going to react, right? You can also spoof the IP and see if it is coming from this particular IP, what is going to behave like. Also use combination of tools so that manual errors are avoided. It can automatically take care of the whole actions. Choose the right time to send, because even if you're sending an email, don't send at midnight, 12 o'clock, right? So I think understand from the emails what is the right time to send. Do not send on Mondays based on the target that you're, the target industry that you're sending, because Mondays are busy days for most of the companies and they'll not be like even caring to look at, they'll just simply ignore. um, do not copy content from a competitor. So I have seen this happening even recently for one of the very last products, where they have copied a content from Zoho, and people identified it. So that's a credibility problem. So try to make sure that your content is proper, because these are all impressions, and don't be spammy. Don't send them a lot. Don't send them email if they ask remove me. Don't follow up like every day. Give them some time. So there are few things like this. Also warm up your email, because um, make sure that your emails are not going to spam, because it is also going to affect your IP reputation, domain reputation. So make sure that find ways where you cannot affect your IP and domain, uh, and you should be able to reach out to their inbox directly. So I think these are the few things which I wanted to highlight. It's already enough information if you're using this effectively, all these combinations. Um, so let me know if you have any questions. Happy to share the insights. I also created a quick automation flow. This is an automation flow which I can very much share with you. So let's say Apollo is a tool that you can use for collecting email IDs. You can collect email IDs from Apollo. You can move the data to Neverbounce. So Neverbounce will help you verify the bounce rate, whether it is a successful email or whether it is a non-existing email, etc. And based on that, then you can move to third-party tool called Expendi or any other tool. So the advantage of Never Bounce is that it'll help you to not take your emails to spam by having a lot of bounce rate. Then you can use Expandy. Again, all this data can be moved to Expandy, or it can even be moved to Lemlist, and based on different workflows, um, you can send them automatic replies, and when they reach a particular stage, you can dump them, or if they're qualified, then you can move them to your CRM. So you can write flows like this. You can write, and I think the from the beginning to the end, the entire action can be completely automated. You don't have to spend time except selection of prospects. Rest can be pretty much automated. Yeah. So with that, I'm done with my I don't know whether it is a demo or a explanation or a anything. So let me know if you have any questions. This is my email if you want to reach out to me. So happy to take questions. I think we already have a few questions here. I'll just take the question. Yeah.
So Nizam, I can actually ask you the questions and you can probably answer. I have the list of.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So Nidhish is actually asking, is there any particular reason for you think that Adderall is good for remarketing? Nizam?
Absolutely. So the one biggest advantage of our role that I, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello, Gaurav,
Now,
can you?
now you
Yeah,
can.
the one best advantage of ad role that I've seen is it allows you better segmenting the data. So if you go to ad role and if you sign up, even if without using ads, also you can pretty much use this ad role for segmenting your audience based on their behavior, and based on the segmentation, you can then make the remarketing. So Google remarketing can also be used in combination with Google Analytics data. If you are good at Google Analytics and how to use different journey inside Google Analytics, how to use this events inside Google Analytics, then you will be able to use remarketing. But ad role comes with a few. Number one, number two is um, the distribution of this goes to multiple channels, not just the Google ads. So I think you can also place in Twitter, in Facebook, in multiple social medias at the same time using the same data sets. That's the main advantage of having this ad roll on top of Google ads. But again, you'll be using groups talking about selling a product to them. So Acadle, the 50K or a 60K revenue that I spoke about in the last 5 to 6 months has completely come from Facebook. Completely came. This Fortune Buster can also be used for Facebook. There are similar tools that you can use for Facebook also for the same use cases. And even it can be used for third-party platforms like Crunchbase. There are tools which we even automate your activities in Quora. Like for example, it can automatically identify questions in Quora and answer as a person. Another interesting tool we use internally is like phrase. So we use a combination of phrase and niches. So niches will give me content prescription description, and phrase will give me the related keywords and the content that is available for a particular topic. And we do a combination. We'll see some data from the recommendations from phrase, and we do a combination. So we should be able to launch very much keyword rich articles. So on our blog. So there are tools available for Facebook also. I think Fortune Buster is absolutely a great tool. You can also search for Facebook with sales automation tools, and you will get a bunch from Google. Yeah.
Right. Nizam, one more question that is, does LinkedIn work for the healthcare industry? I mean, the doctors, private practices.
Depends. So the decision, if the decision makers are different, if the decision makers are going to be doctors, they are not. You cannot find doctors. We have seen this while working previously. You cannot find doctors much in the LinkedIn. There are platforms which are dedicated for LinkedIn. If I'm not wrong, but what you can do is you can find the head of a hospital, etc., to reach out to them, saying that hey, we have the solution. So it is more of a going through the hospital, and then LinkedIn is pretty much possible. Otherwise, the best option for you if you're targeting doctor is Google. So there are some tools available where you can scrap the data of a Google based on a particular location. It will automatically give you the phone number of that doctor, location of that doctor, etc., etc. Then put a couple of telesales team and let them make calls to this, arrange meetings for your sales guys on the field who can go and meet them, give demos, etc. So there are a lot of scrapping. Even I think similar to Fortune Buster, there are more tools available exclusively for identifying the data that are available on a particular area. Because Google Map is rich with your local data. Every doctor is available in Google Maps. So you can use those automations. There is a tool, I don't remember the name, but there is a tool where you can mention the Latin launch, and you can give them the category of that launch, and category of that particular target business. So it will go to 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer vicinity of that particular location. We'll figure out all the businesses with that particular category. It can be a clinic, it can be a doctor. It will get you the name, phone number, and email ID. And email ID, if the website is addressable, even you will get that also. So there are ways where you can capture, where you can reach out to doctors also using this automations. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Nizam. Nizam, couple of more questions. One is, of course, that what is the right time for Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook? I mean, this is probably in context with posting or reaching out to people. Is there a specific time?
Um, Time depends on different business and your audience. So there is no specific as because I know I was talking to an educational company who is into building materials. So they have figured out that their potential customers are coming after 6 o'clock in the evening. They get more engagement because people use their, I mean, students use their parents' phone, or parents are out of their work and sitting in the evening together with family. So they have seen more engagement after 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So I think the only way, I mean, there's no straightforward answer, because it depends on the industry and depends on the target that you have. Um, at least you should go and try that and see what is really going to work. I think you need to post a couple of posts, review it for a week, and see which one is giving you more impressions. There are more tools where you can analyze all this data in terms of how many people are reading it, how many people are watching it, what is the category of people who are reading it. So you can look at a lot of social media analytics tools to understand the reach of this, and then you can take a call what is the right time and what is the right content to post. Even content to post is also very important. Yeah.
Right, right. Thanks, Nizam. Nizam, one last question. I know that you're running late, but one last question. So actually regarding the emails, right, for the outbound. This is a two-part question. One is a lot of these emails actually end up in spam. So how do you prevent that? The second is the same part is a lot of time people actually respond to first mail when but when the founders follow up, they are not able to get replies. So, I mean, how do you deal with these two conditions?
Yeah, so what we have done sometimes back is, because when we launched Acadle, what happened was, even now also it goes to spam sometimes. I am still figuring out what is the right way to completely take it out of spam. I have seen yesterday an email from a very large company also coming to spam. So that depends on individual email service providers. But one thing that we did and started working is, because we had more than 15 guys working in the company, we told them that, okay, this is your task to send me 5 emails every day, and this is, I will make sure to give you a reply to this email every day. So for the next 15 to 20 days, my team helped me to send manual composed emails, and I replied to them at the end of the day at variable times. And that kind of helped to increase the reputation. And these are not the same email ID. I was sending to their Gmail. They were sending me from their Yahoo mail, Rediff mail, corporate mails, etc. So that kind of helped us to warm up manually, not automatically. Warming up, there are tools for warming up automatically also. And there are multiple other factors. The provider, service provider is important. And I have a document completely on securing your email, because there are a few records that you need to keep it within the email, CNAME, MX records, and all that. So if that is available, then that email ID is considered as secured. So it will not be considered as a marketing email. So it depends on multiple factors. But if you go to online, you can see a lot of materials. There are tools where you can secure your email. There are tools where you can configure it to reduce the spamming. There are tools where you can warm up this email, etc. Yeah, so that's a quick answer. This is one way, manually doing it, and also DKYM records and a couple of other records to add SPF records. Make sure all these are available for your email, so that it stands safe and nobody should be able to use this email ID for sending emails on behalf of your company name. So all these are very important when you're using your email.
Right. The second part on the follow-ups, if you don't get a response from your customer.
Biggest problem outbound. Okay, what was the second question? If you don't get response, sorry.
Response from your customer. I mean, so you're
Uh-huh.
following up, and if you don't get a response, so how do you deal with that? So
I mean, one way, send them an email with some content after a couple of weeks. Send them an email from another user after a couple of weeks. And unfortunately, we've seen emails from founders get good replies. We've seen emails from girls get good replies. I don't know why is that, but yeah, that is happening. Um, and the reply rates go high when it is going to be personalized. Um, so LinkedIn conversations can be personalized. So I think if you don't get a reply, I think there's no other way. So what we do normally when we do an outbound is we get some 7 contacts from each company, and that's the touch point that we do. So the moment the 7 touch point is over, then we don't talk to him. Then we talk to the next person in the same company, asking him to connect with the right person, etc., etc. So for individual people that we talk to, the type of messaging is going to be different. For technical, so for the technical head, it is going to be different. For if I'm sending to a CEO, the question is going to be more of, don't you want to save your money, or how do you think you can scale it with the current propositions or tools that you have? So I think for individual emails that you send, the messaging has to be different, but have some backups where if you don't reply, then if it doesn't reply, then whom else that you can reach out, and have a average of 7 emails when you're sending an email or a follow-up.
right, thanks Nizam. I mean, I can definitely see uh, this being like one of the and this very insightful session. I'm already getting responses from the founders that the on this session very insightful. So thank you for joining in today. To all the
My pleasure, my pleasure.
participants, we could only take this much of questions at the moment. If you have any more questions, you can write me or Rupa, and we'll connect you to Nizam over the email. Right. So thank you everyone for joining in today. Thank you Nizam once again.
Thank you so much, Kaurav, Rupa, for arranging this, and thanks everyone for joining us today. And very nice to be having you on this webinar today. Have a
Sure.
good day. Bye.
Thanks.